Now and then it keeps you running, never seems to die. Trail spent with fear, not enough, living on the outside.
So what do you grow here?
Corn, soybeans, wheat, and alfalfa. It's been, well, it's family farm. I mean, it's fourth generation, so.
Yeah.
Texas was dry last year, and it kind of moved up north this year, and everyone's been dry this year. A couple guys south of town here, a couple miles, caught a few rains, and crops did a little better, but I work full time for the power company, and then
You just
Dad's,
do this.
yeah, this is, when you grow up and it's in your blood, it's kind of hard to get rid of. I don't know, I like it.
What kind of seed do you use?
Corn and beans wise, it's GMO. I mean, it's pretty hard pressed to find some conventional numbers. There's a few companies around that do have it, but they're harder to find. I mean, everybody's, with Monsanto and Syngenta and all them, why? Those are the big players with DuPont, Pioneer, so Mother Nature's always going to be right there with you. So it's just a matter of what these scientists can pull off to try to stay one step ahead. We better hurry up, though, because they're not looking so good right now.
Don't you see the danger, John, inherent in what you're doing here? Genetic power is the most awesome force the planet's ever seen, but you wield it like a kid that's found his dad's gun. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it.
I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
We are letting the chemical companies play God with our food supply. And this is the biggest guinea pig trial in human history, except it's all of us. Human beings are guinea pigs. What they're doing is they're taking a seed of maybe a soybean or a corn or an alfalfa, and they're splicing into that pesticidal bacteria, genes from flounders, genes from other bacteria and other plants, and creating a new species. And the results of that are unpredictable.
What we see is that the love affair we've had with genetic engineering, because of the lobbyists and because of the successful sort of marketing effort, has resulted in really an abandonment of traditional breeding methods. Many of the classic breeders out there say that they can no longer get research funding for traditional methods, that the only game in town is to work on genetic engineering. So we've really put all of our eggs into this basket. But again, the problem is that in putting all of our eggs there, we're dealing with the unknown.
In fact, this new genetically engineered sweet corn that Monsanto has produced and is now being sold at a Walmart near you contains not one, not two, but 3 different insecticides in every cell, in every kernel. Plus it has the Roundup Ready gene. So there are 4 genes that they put in that corn. So we can put in multiple genes, but it got rolling with bacteria.
Science is really about the free flow of information and everyone working together. Part of the problem with biotechnology is you're creating these plants which I think have questionable safety aspects, both the human and environmental, and then the other big problem has been the opportunity cost. Since all these land-grant universities and others were seeing that this was how they were going to make money, is by doing genetic engineering and biotech, and we'll be able to get these patents and make huge sums of money, all this research money started to flow into biotechnology and away from agricultural ecology and some of these other basic disciplines which are really important for doing a truly sustainable agriculture.
Yeah, because, again, GMOs are based on the notion that again, it's the maximum efficient production for short-term economic return, right? And on a short-term basis, it's obvious to anybody that's a farmer that it's worked, right? But we're now starting to run up against the barriers of that because you haven't paid attention. Sustainability is not a part of that design, right? There's nothing in there about sustainability.
Really, in terms of food production, before World War II, virtually every farmer in this country was an organic farmer. There had been in previous decades the introduction of synthetic fertilizers, which were troubling unto themselves. But in terms of the introduction of chemical herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, widespread use of antibiotics in livestock production, hormone treatments, these are all really, really brand new.
And this concept of substantial equivalence, which is a non-scientific term. It's a very superficial term, and it's really a fraudulent term. The idea is that genetically engineered crops are substantially equivalent to their traditional counterparts merely because they look the same. It's very superficial. The reality is they're anything but the same. And no one, especially a multinational corporation with the history that Monsanto has of introducing Agent Orange and DDT and PCBs, and now all of a sudden those crops and those products that they told us were safe that were proved to be very harmful, and now they're telling us that their genetically engineered crops are safe.
Risk assessment is a very important thing for people to understand. When FDA or EPA approves these different chemicals or genetically modified, they just look about what risks are there known today. And if there's not enough known risks, they'll allow the product to go in the marketplace. But that, in plain English, means we're all the guinea pigs until they find there's risk. And so basically all the chemicals that were used in the 50s when I was a little boy are all gone today because they found there was risk. That means that we used them for 20 years and then they concluded, well, I guess that's not as good as we thought. So risk assessment is the means of our regulation in this country. Nothing is declared safe. You hear people saying GMOs are safe or chemicals are safe. You'll never see the government declare safe. On their risk assessment basis, they've not seen enough risk to keep it off the market. That's all they say.
Monsanto's had a particular business plan ever since they were allowed to take patents out on, organisms, living organisms. That's really what started everything into action. When you can patent corn, a crop that's been grown for millions of years, but you can come in and just modify that DNA, which gives you a patent on that DNA, and now you control it.
Transgenic agriculture, when you strip away all of the propaganda and all of the false claims made by Monsanto, that transgenic agriculture or genetic engineering, it's all about control. It's taking control of the seed supply, which is tantamount to taking control of the world's food supply. And I don't believe that anyone or any corporation should have that kind of power. In a democracy, it's dangerous when there's a concentration of power, and when you concentrate the ability of one corporation to have total control over the food supply through its seed, that represents an absolute threat to the survival of our democracy and to the survival of this world. It's nothing short of a threat to our democracy.